Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Clients for Creative podcast. My name is Vince, and today I have my co-host with me, Greg. So welcome, Greg.
Hello.
And in this episode, we are just kind of going to go over why we created this podcast in the first place. Why is there a need for this podcast if there are already thousands of them available, right? And also, what is Clients for Creatives? What is this company? What is the purpose of it? What we do? And after that, we are going to kind of go over our stories, how we built our agencies, where we are currently at with our journeys, and where we are headed. And also at the end, and Greg and I are going to give you some tips if you are maybe a freelancer or someone who owns a creative agency and you're just starting out. We are going to give you our best pieces of advice on how to start landing some high ticket clients and building out your monthly revenue online, right? So Greg, if you don't mind, I'm kind of going to quickly go over why we created this podcast and Clients for Creatives, okay? So basically, Clients for Creatives is going to be an education company specifically for people who have already some creative skills like video editing, filmmaking, photography, copywriting, even marketing, anything like that, and who want to either transition from being a freelancer into an agency owner, or who just want to start their own creative agencies. And the reason we think there is a big need for that is because there are a ton of people out there teaching marketing, right? How to build marketing agencies, how to build consulting businesses. And there's nothing wrong with those courses and coaching programs, but there isn't really anyone who's teaching specifically how to land high ticket creative clients and how to build a business online up to a 6-figure or 7-figure level. I mean, none of us are at the 7-figure level yet, but we have both built 6-figure agencies, and there isn't really anyone who's teaching creatives how to do that, because the thing is, there is a big difference between selling creative services, maybe such as content creation, social media management, and growth, and selling marketing services and consulting services. So we really thought that and really saw that there's a need for this in the market, because when we were just starting out, this is exactly what we needed help with, and we couldn't really find anyone out there, because all the creative courses, the filmmaking courses, were focused specifically on just like how to actually create the content and how to acquire the skill sets it's needed, whether that's video editing or photography or Photoshop, whatever. But none of them really focused on the business side of things. And the ones that were really focused on how to get like super big projects and do just like in-person filming mostly. None of them really were focused on the actual online business side of things, where you can get clients for monthly recurring rates at how to get clients at 2-3 grand a month, paying you every single month, and something that you can actually do remotely. You don't have to be there in the hot sun and just like filming and doing all that stuff, right? So that is kind of the reason why we wanted to create this podcast, to share our best advices, because over the last few years that I've been building my agency, and also over the last 1 or 2 years Greg has been building his, we have learned a lot. We have made a lot of mistakes, I especially, and learned a lot of things from that as well. So we just really hope that by us putting out this content and also our paid program, we can help a lot of you guys who are those creative minds to really get some nice income as well and a nice business built up. So in a nutshell, that is the reason for this podcast and Clients for Creatives, which is going to be a consulting/coaching company. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell. Now, I want to go over both of our stories as well, so you guys get a better understanding of where we are currently at and how we actually got here. So Greg, I now want you to take the lead on that and kind of tell people your story, how you got into online business as a whole, what you were doing before that, how old you are, where you're from, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so just wanted to also quickly refer back to what you just said, because I saw your post on Instagram one time, and it was like so true that people in the creative industry, they're like happy to spend, $3,000 on gear and something, or like, they think this gear is gonna get them, bigger clients, they're gonna make them money, or like, learning this skill gonna make them more money, and they don't think, like most creatives don't think about like the business side of it. So, they are very good at their skills, they have good gear, and they are not making the amount they want. They are not building real business because they are not focusing on building real business skills. But
Absolutely.
yeah, going back to my story. So I'm currently just turned 20 like a week ago. I started my business, I think it's like 18 months ago or something. It was kind of like, I was kind of doing some things before, basically. So tried a lot of different things, but then mainly focused more on, having like a photography, videography business with my cousin. So basically we were shooting, commercials for local businesses, doing some photography gigs and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't really something big. So we were just making, very, very small amount of money.
Like roughly how
And
how much, just so people get kind of like a understanding, of the prices you were able to charge back then as a like a freelancer in Poland, right? You're from Poland.
yeah, I think our biggest project was like $600 because like,
Yeah,
in
but
Poland.
that wasn't even like the average, right? So that was like a pretty big project back
Yes.
then.
Yeah, that was like our biggest project. And there were two of us, so we need to like split
Yeah.
this amount in half basically. So yeah, it was very interesting, but I learned a lot during this time. And then it was pretty much somewhere around the pandemic, when pandemic hit, uh, there was a lockdown, and basically I was decided like, let's try something online, as we have times are uncertain, so let's try something online. And I was watching a ton of YouTube, so I was learning from a lot of people, and I actually came across you because I was actually wanting to start like a advertising agency. I didn't have any experience in advertising, anything like that, but I wanted to start like an agency. And I saw you, and that you were basically doing like creative agency. It's kind of crazy to me that right now we are sitting here together recording a podcast to like one and
Yeah,
a half years
life
later.
is trippy. Yeah, it's you never know where you're gonna be in a few years. Like even with me, sorry to kind of cut off your story, but like just looking back a couple years ago, even at my old videos and just where I was at in life in all areas, it's sometimes it's kind of insane to look back and see how much things have changed, right?
Totally, yeah, exactly. So I came across your YouTube channel, and I remember you were doing like I followed you on Instagram. You were doing like a giveaway, and I won like a free consulting call with you back then. It was like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, I remember we had that call, but you gave me some tips on that stuff. I didn't take action. Then I started my proper agency once the pandemic hit, like a creative agency. I basically started more like a freelancer as well, kind of. And from there built my agency over the next 18 months to where I'm right now. uh, and yeah, it was kind of crazy journey basically, because even starting out I was like charging very low. And yeah, and right now, last month we wrapped up the month at like $20,000 in a single month. So kind of crazy. And that's basically
Yeah.
how it started, and
Yeah,
building from
that's
there.
wild because I remember Greg and I actually did a similar video like this where I was kind of interviewing Greg because I have after he did the initial free coaching call with me around 2 years ago, he actually ended up buying coaching from me, one-on-one coaching, and yeah, that's when things kind of started to really pop off for him after that, because I think there is something to say about that. Like you said, you didn't take action after the first call that you had with me. Because the thing is, like, that was a free call, right? So even
Yes.
though I gave you really valuable information probably on how to build this business out, you didn't really take it that seriously because it was free. But then after that, you made a little bit of money, and then you actually ended up investing in like actual proper consulting with me. And then you really started like making some nice progress with the agency. And I think that was probably because of the fact simply that you have put your money where your mouth was, like you got some skin in the game. So it was like, I have to make this work now that I've invested all this money, otherwise it's all wasted, right? So that's part of the reason as well why I personally really believe in consulting and coaching, because I've had great results with it in the past as well, where I invested money into a program, and then I was like, okay, now I need to really like take all the action that I learned from this program, because otherwise I'm just wasting my money, right? So yeah, that's just a quick side tangent. But anyway, so Greg and I were doing this client or student interview like a year ago, and I think that was your first like 7 or 8K month, and you said you want to do 20K by the end of the year. And yeah, you were a month late, but still
Yeah.
that's incredible progress. I mean seriously, hats off to you. And just to give a little bit more context to people, like, so you started around 18 months ago. How did that progress look like? Because you didn't just go from 0 to 20K in a few months. Like that's pretty unreasonable, to be honest, for most people. So how was that progression for you? What were like the biggest obstacles you were facing, both like just business wise and also mentally? Like what were the biggest challenges throughout this journey of going from completely like broke Polish kid charging a couple $100 for all day long video shoots, to now running like a proper serious business at 20?
Yeah. So, oh yeah, a ton of things happened during this time. But basically, I think like, when starting out, I was like, the main challenge for me here was that I was charging pretty low, and that's because I'm from Poland. Here in Poland, average person makes like maybe $1,000 per month for like a full month of work. So it was for me very hard to charge like $1,000 per month for something that I'm gonna spend like 3 hours weekly to actually like deliver. I was basically trying to base the price just off of the work, of the amount of work that I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So starting out, I was like still, I got some clients, but I was charging very low. So it was like usually few $100s per client. And it was very hard for me to overcome that and actually start charging, $2,000 per month. So this was the first challenge, but there were many, so getting, mostly for people, it's the biggest challenge is actually getting clients. And I think especially like creatives, they, like I said, they have skills, they have all the different, gear, but they don't know how to land new clients. And this was also a problem for me because
Yeah.
there's like a ton of advice technically on how to get clients, but I think it's a bit different for creative niche, creative industry. So, after working with you, you teach me all of that stuff, and basically, following proven process, it was way easier for me to build. But yeah, overall, like a ton of things happened. Basically, going from three things that I would say helped me scale my business the most is, charging high ticket for my services, uh, basically getting more clients through proven systems, but also like building a team. So I think this is also very important because a ton of people get stuck in this like freelancing, being a freelancer, and like people are nowadays, I think it's like kind of glorified being a freelancer, where it's actually not that good because you can make good money. For example, you can live in Poland, and where the cost of living are very low, and you can be a freelancer, work like globally, and make $2,000-3,000 per month. But still, you're gonna have to work pretty much like all day, every day. It's like a pretty much like a regular job.
Yeah.
While when building a team, there's come like a real scale. So up to this point right now, for example, even though we are making like $15,000-$20,000 per month as an agency. I have my team, a very lean team. I don't have to work like 8 hours a day. I actually can work like 1-2 hours a day, and everything's gonna be fine, pretty much. I'm not working that amount, but I technically can. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this is pretty much the the whole journey from
Yeah.
growing.
So how long? So when you were just starting out, like how long did it take you to get from 0 to like 3-4K a month, which is where most people can like go full time with that thing? And then how long did it take, from that 3-4K a month, or basically like under 5K, to get to 15-20K a month? I just want to go a bit into that, because I think it's important for people to understand how things can scale up like pretty exponentially, but also not to expect everything to like instantly, work and go from 0 to 100, because it's simply, if you're expecting that, it's just not very likely to happen, and you might get discouraged. So yeah, can you touch a little bit on that, on like roughly how many months it took to go from 0 to the point where you could do this as like a full-time thing, and then from that to the point where it's like giving you basically financial freedom and independence?
Yeah, so I remember starting out, I actually wanted to get, like, my first goal was $2,000 per month, because that would be like 2x more than like all the people in Poland are
Yeah, like
making.
average salary.
Yeah, like the average, exactly. So to like 2K per month, I got in like 2 months, I think. So it was very,
Wow.
very fast. And then scaling to like $4,000-$5,000 took a bit longer. So I think it took me like overall like 6 months to get to like $4,000 per month roughly. Then, to be exact, I think like 10 months later, I made my first $8,000 per month.
Mm-hmm.
And then, up to this point, 1.5 years later, we are making anywhere from like 10, 15, $20,000 per
Yeah.
month. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
kind of how
So
the time frame looks like.
that's pretty amazing, man. And yeah, I also just want to point out that I think your work ethic, based on how much I saw from it, is probably a lot like above average. So I think you're a really hard worker, and that probably also comes from your upbringing, and also like some of my upbringing. Like, as you guys know, now as you guys know, Greg is from Poland, and I'm from Hungary, and these are both kind of like ex-Soviet, like European countries. So basically, the average like quality of living in these countries is not super high. Most people don't make a lot of money around here in Europe, in these more kind of like Eastern countries. So I think for us, that was that we could look at that as like a disadvantage to be from these countries. But I think both of us were really good at recognizing kind of how big of an opportunity we have with the internet and online business as a whole, and how it's really worth it to work hard on these things, because we can basically get like tens of years ahead of the regular path that was laid out for us in these countries. And if you're from the US listening to this, or the UK, or I don't know, Canada, Australia, any of these countries, any of the first world, like really developed countries, quote unquote, like just consider yourself insanely lucky, because it's a privilege to be even in one of those countries. And but yeah, the fact of the matter is that with the online business space, like the gates have opened up for everyone. And if you're just willing to learn English and learn how to speak, then you have so much opportunity out there for you, no matter what country you are from. Like, you can make what Greg and I made happen from any country, basically. And obviously, yeah, if you're from North Korea, that, I'm sorry for you, that sucks, but then you're probably not even listening to this podcast. But what I'm trying to say is that you have unlimited opportunity basically from any country if you have access to the internet. And yeah, if you are from UK, US, whatever, you really have no excuses to make, because you can make this happen. You can make six figures online from whatever kind of business you want to build. So yeah, I think that is truly an incredible thing. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey, Greg. And one thing I wanted to kind of go back to is what you said was your biggest kind of challenge, which is the mindset stuff, right? Like being able to charge high prices and being able to say, okay, I'm gonna charge you 2K a month for this, or 3K a month, or 1K a month, whatever it might be. And I think that is a challenge for almost all creatives, not even just ones that are from European, like smaller countries. It's a challenge for all creatives because, like you said, you are trying to kind of value, like base your value on your time and how much you think your time is worth. But the problem is, if you aren't an entrepreneur and you haven't grew up kind of in the business sphere, then the way you probably value your time is really low. Like you don't really value your time probably, because you don't know about how leverage works and how much value you can actually create with whatever you're doing. So that's why I personally teach a lot about mindset stuff, kind of, and how to get over that hurdle of not being able to say high prices or charge high prices, or even just feel like you are worth that. So what helped you with that personally? Like, what do you think was the biggest thing to overcome that fear of charging higher prices, and also just feeling like you are someone who is worth that much, and who is worth making that much money, kind of?
Yeah, I think those like there are two main things. So the first thing is actually like noticing that the service is actually, a value to a client. So for example, I think this also may be a struggle for many, let's say like videographer, he shoots a commercials, let's say, and he just shoots a video and he thinks, oh, this is just a video, I can't charge like $2,000 for it, and but once you deliver this video and the business owner uses this video, it can generate him like $100,000, for clients, new clients. And this was something that I also needed to go through, basically, see the
Yeah.
value of the service that I was providing, just to give you like give you more details. Right now, my agency is offering YouTube services, meaning we help entrepreneurs and coaches start and scale their YouTube channels. And I was also thinking at the beginning that, oh, I can't charge like $1,000 per month or like $2,000 per month for it, because it's just like YouTube. We are just editing some videos, creating some thumbnails, and managing the channel. But actually, once you realize how much money are those people making, from their YouTube channels, in terms of, people are watching the videos, buying their courses, buying their products, whatever, and growing their channels is like a real value for them. They are making 10x probably what I'm charging just from their YouTube channels. So this is the first thing, actually, like realizing how much your service is worth, or if your service, or at least positioning yourself in the way that makes your service more valuable to a client.
Yeah.
And the second thing is actually investing money. So this is a big, so for example, once I, invested $1,000 in coaching, let's say, then I was able to charge 1,000, because I wasn't really thinking, it's so much money right now. And so back then I was thinking, oh, $1,000 is too much, I can't charge that. But once you spend $1,000, you're realizing, oh, it's actually not that much, I can charge it easily. And it's such a strange correlation, actually, that usually, like, I hear it from many people. They invest like $1,000 and now they can charge $1,000. They invest
Yeah.
$5,000, now they are able to charge $5,000. So that's also a big point, actually spending money, but like wisely, so investing
Yeah,
it.
definitely. And I think also us as creatives are usually just so like used to spending money only on physical objects, like into whatever camera gear. I mean, this is a phone, but whatever. Like you might spend, I don't know, 10, 15 grand into different lenses and computers and cameras. And the thing is, in that exchange of value, you are giving money for like a physical object. But when you are asking money for a service which is not like physically tangible, or when you are paying for consulting or coaching to learn something and to actually kind of like make yourself better and more valuable, it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that there is value in things that are not material necessarily, right? But once you do that, and once you pay for something that's not physical, but then you actually see like, okay, there is actually value in this if you buy the right thing. And then it becomes easier for you to have someone buy something from you, like a service which is not physical, but you still give more value if you do it the right way, and if you create a proper offer around your skill set. It still creates more value than what you charge for it if you do it the right way. So yeah, I think that's something pretty interesting.
Yeah, and also I think maybe like a bonus tip to here is like actually going for bigger clients as well, because so many people actually try to target those like smaller clients. So for example, trying to pitch small businesses or like small business owners. And actually, I think, one of the easiest ways to raise your prices as well is just to go for bigger clients. So for example, if I was trying to get like a client making like $10,000 per month sign up for my $1,000 per month service, it was way harder. They were trying to negotiate down. It was like a ton of problems there. And once I started pitching those bigger clients, for example, I got a client for like that paid $4,000 in full, and he didn't ask like anything. He just took his card and paid the invoice. So just because he's making like 100, 200, $300,000 per month, so that's also like the bonus tip here in terms
Yeah,
of charging more.
and people are gonna think like, okay, but if I want to charge more and work with bigger clients, like I need more work experience, or I need to be better at whatever I'm doing. And
Yeah,
that's
that's so
usually
big.
not the case. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience that the people I charge, 2 3 grand a month for, now I'm not necessarily doing like any better work. I mean, I'm always obviously trying to improve my work and learn more about how I can create a better service and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is like, let's say with an editing or video production service, like the actual quality of the editing or the videos haven't improved that much since when I was charging a couple $100 for it, or even just a couple dozen dollars. Like my editing skills, if I mean, nowadays I don't really edit anything myself, but the point I'm saying is like, if you have been learning creative stuff or whatever for a couple years, most likely your skills are already like really good. It's just that you haven't really worked with enough clients, and you haven't really seen the competition yet. So probably your skill sets are already good enough to charge high prices, or if not, like you can improve them really quickly. Like video editing, photo editing, all of that stuff is not super difficult, I think, to learn. It takes a long time to master, but not more than a couple years to get to the point where you are like really competent. Now, sure, if you are aiming for that top like 0.001% of commercial videos that people charge millions for, like, yeah, that takes probably a decade to get that good. But that's not the goal we are aiming for, most likely. So there's that. Like, probably your skill sets are already good enough to charge a couple grand a month for them. It's just that you need to learn how to really use those skill sets in a business sense, kind of, where you create value with your skill sets. And also, you don't necessarily have to, if you are running an agency, for example, you don't necessarily have to deliver the service yourself. You can also just learn how to be really good at the business stuff, close clients for high ticket prices, and then outsource the work to really, really good editors and really good videographers for less than what you charge the client for, right? So yeah, I think that's another thing that can help creatives probably.
Yeah, I think like exactly. What gets you to charge like 2, 3, 5, 10x more for your services isn't, improving your skills or getting new gear. It's actually about like improving your business skills. So learning how to create an offer, learning how to find your potential clients, learning how to actually pitch them, how to, sell them, all that different stuff. And actually, this is way easier to do and way more efficient than trying to be like top 0.001% editor or something.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. So now I'm also going to kind of go over my journey in a nutshell. I'm not going to go into it as in detail as Greg, because I already have a video on my channel. It's like 20 something minutes where I explain everything step by step. But yeah, so basically, similar to Greg, I started out as just a freelancer when I think I was 15 years old back then. So I think it was, yeah, 2018, if I'm correct, or end of 2017. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, my first ever paid gig was working as just like an assistant kind of in a filming crew. And I was paid, I think, $30 a day. And I was working like 10 to 14-hour days as a filming
Insane.
assistant. And it was like a Formula One student event. And I was kind of helping a filming crew to shoot and edit um, events here in Hungary, right? So I was making like a nice $3 to $4 an hour. Um, but at the time, like, don't get me wrong, I was just like super young, 15, 16-year-old guy. I really enjoyed the fact that I was learning a lot from the experience, and just the fact that I was making money. Like, I always loved the idea of business and making money. Even before that, like, that was just the first time I ever made money with anything. But before that, I tried drop shipping. I tried like affiliate marketing. I tried making YouTube videos, and I just haven't made like a single dollar with any of those basically before that. But yeah, so that was my first time I ever got paid as a freelancer, kind of. And I think I was making, yeah, probably like $300 a month in this summer job where I was interning for a video team. And then yeah, so I did that for that summer, throughout my summer break. And I was really thinking like, okay, how could I make money while I'm still in school with my current skill set? And yeah, at that point I was already interested in filmmaking for and photography for around like 2 years. So I learned from YouTube tutorials, like the actual skill set. I learned from people like Peter McKinnon and Maddie Hapoya and these guys. And yeah, so I came up with the idea of messaging some people on Instagram, basically, who I was watching on YouTube already, to make some Instagram clips for them. And so I reached out to a couple hundred people, and most of them didn't get back to me. But there was a guy called Omar Elatar, and he runs a YouTube channel called The Passionate Few. And yeah, he gave me kind of a chance to edit videos for him for free. So don't get me wrong, I was not getting paid at first. I was just like working overtime after school, and creating like these small Instagram video edits from his podcast, because he has a podcast on YouTube. And after a couple of weeks of making free videos for him every single day, I asked him if he would be down to actually pay me for them. So fortunately, he was. I think I pitched him like $10 a video. So I I wasn't making much still. I was making like $10 an hour, but that was the first time I made money um, while speaking English. So from like an English client, which was huge for me. And also I was making it online, so I could work from home from my laptop, and it was just like mind blowing to me, right? And I was insanely happy. That was probably like where I was the happiest with my progress, because I was just making like some money every single day. And then through him, I got a couple clients and started making like, I don't know, like 3 4 grand a month um, when I was 16, which was again mind blowing to me at that time. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that's really, really good money for any 16 and then turning into like 17-year-old. Yeah, so at that time I was just editing everything myself, making videos, doing like YouTube thumbnails, basically anything I could do, right? And then when I was 17, that's where I started watching a guy called Iman Gaji, who makes videos on agencies and how to run an agency. And that's when I got the idea to transition this little freelance editing gig into kind of like a proper agency. And that's when I hired my first kind of like editor or team member. And then yeah, I got a couple more clients around that time when I was 17, and then turned 18 after that. And yes, at 17 I didn't make that much progress. I mean, I went from like 3 grand to like maybe like six, maybe max like 7 grand a month. So my progress was a lot, slower than yours. And that was partially just because like I didn't have a path laid out for me, so I kind of just like had to figure most things out on my own. And also I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not as disciplined in my nature as probably you are. I mean, I got pretty complacent at 17 throughout most of that year, which was I think 2019 for me. No, 2020 actually. Yeah, so throughout 2020 I got a bit complacent. And what else? I might be messing up my timelines a little bit just because it's been like 3.5 years already. So yeah. But then last year I made like a pretty big leap again, and I started making a lot more progress. I solved a lot of the issues I had with my mental health, because I had some of that stuff really slow me down in 2019. And yeah, like my best my best months were like throughout the middle of I mean, not like all-time best months, but then I started like making some real nice progress basically last year. I started out the year at like just I don't know, like 4 or 5 grand, and then scaled up to like 7, then did like 10, 13, 14. And yeah, I think the best month was around like 16 and a half or something like that. And yeah, like last year was really good overall for me. I did slow down quite a bit around middle of last year. And that was just basically because of me. Like I just wanted to enjoy life a bit more. And I felt like I needed some rest after, I don't know, 2 3 years of going pretty hard on entrepreneurship and not really having a personal life. and and yeah, and then basically now we are here in 2022. um, I'm really excited to keep things going and scale up both my agency, and also I really want to focus on my YouTube channel that grew a ton last year. I went from like 2,000 subscribers on that to, well, now at around like 33,000, so pretty rapid growth there. And yeah, this year I just want to get up to 100K subscribers, grow the agency to like a constant 20 25K a month. And yeah, I mean, Greg, with the agency now, you are kind of ahead of me a little bit. But yeah, and then
Yeah.
I just kind of want to build both of these things this year. Have the agency at a really healthy level where it's making good profits every month, steadily, and also build the YouTube stuff, because that's where I see more kind of like rapid growth for me personally, because I really enjoy that. And also, well, you guys have seen how much money there is to be made on YouTube, and also I really enjoy it. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell. It's been around like 3-ish years for me already. And yeah, it's been definitely a ride as well for me too.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned also regarding getting your first client, like a paying client, because I think a lot of people that are gonna listen to this, maybe you don't have clients yet, but I remember get also this feeling of getting the first clients, probably one of
Yeah.
the best feelings in the world. Like when I got my first payment for like $500, I believe it was. I was going like a full week. I was just so happy. I don't even know like what was the main reason. Like, I mean, it was cool, but it was just like $500, and I was like the whole week I was thinking about it. Oh yeah, I'm finally starting. I finally got my first client. All that stuff. Very, 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 very good feeling. And now, for example, getting for like my biggest payment, I believe was like 5,000. And I was like driving home. I got a notification, checking notification. Oh, got 5K payments. Okay, put the phone back away, and
Yeah.
and like nothing really changed. So that's kind of crazy. But it don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't enjoy that and like don't enjoy, making money and like building the business. But like the best feeling in the world is with the first paying client, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something we could talk about a little bit is that the biggest part, probably if you are listening to this, you are probably still really young, uh, most likely under 25 or 30 years old at least. And if you are not, well, thank you so much for watching this still or listening to it. But most likely you are young because people tend to attract people who are similar to them, right? So that's why probably I attracted you with my content as well, because I was in a similar age and life situation as you. And if you are listening to this, um, I know that everybody was telling me this when I was just starting out, but I really wish that I listened to it more. And that is that the reason people say you should try to enjoy the journey as much as possible and focus on really just taking in as much as you can every single day of the, even if you're struggling and you're facing a lot of hardships right now. The reason I think it's so important to try to be present and live through what you're doing, and I heard this all the time, but I never really understood why, is because the reward is in the journey and not the destination. Like, you will not feel significantly happier making whatever the dream amount of money is for you. Like, if you want to make 10K a month or 20K a month, or I mean, I haven't got there just yet, but probably even 50, 100K a month, you are not going to feel different throughout the day and just in your life in general. The place where I personally found the most joy is just making progress in life, and that can be in all sorts of areas. It doesn't necessarily have to be business, but also it can be your health, or your relationship with your family and loved ones and friends, um, or your relationship with God or religion, whatever you might believe in. That's been my journey personally. Like, when I got kind of in a low state 2 years ago in 2019, or no, 2020 actually, um it was when I kind of felt like I was super empty, because I was just so focused on the outcome and getting there, and and making this money and buying different things. I was so focused on that I kind of didn't care about anything else. And when I actually got there, everything felt super empty. So I think, like, the most amount of joy you will find is in the actual daily pursuit of progress and excellence. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how has your journey been in terms of like happiness and just how satisfied you feel with life in general?
Yeah, so yeah, very good topic. So, like I said, starting out, I was very, very happy, with everything, like euphoric kind of. But then it kind of like hit me also what you just mentioned. I think it was like previous year. Not sure about the exact months. I think also it was like the last months of last year where I was like, yeah, like it's all good, I'm happy that I'm making like 10K or something per month. But I not sure what is the reason. I think it's just like what you mentioned, you're constantly thinking about, oh, I want to get to 10K per month, I want to get to 10K per month, and like you're not really enjoying the process, of like, oh, getting new clients, getting your first team member, losing a client, getting another one, growing your business, all that different stuff. You're just focusing on how can I make 10K per month. And once you get there, you're like, oh, it's not like, I sacrificed so much for that, and it's not really like so freaking happy, amazing or whatever. Don't get me wrong, of course it's good to have like a good business, but it's just, you can't just rely on that, that it's gonna make you happy, anything like that.
Yeah,
Um,
like I would say try to focus as much as possible on the actual inputs that you can take to get towards that goal that you eventually want to get to. But don't make your happiness depend on whether you are making that amount right now or not. Like, I think it's fine if you are not satisfied with what you have, because at the end of the day, like, that's what drives us forward. Like, we want something different than what we have right now, but try to focus on like the daily small things, like waking up, going to the gym, sending out your outreach, or learning about how to build an offer, or whatever it might be for you. If you just focus on being as good as possible at those small daily tasks, and trying to really enjoy it and live in the moment, you will eventually get to that goal that you want to get to. You just need to trust kind of the word or the universe or God or whatever you believe in, that it will happen. But yeah, just like don't stress it, I guess, over too much, that much. And also I would say, like, be mindful of the sacrifices that you are making, because you will need to make sacrifices if you want to get something different than what most people have, right? Like, you probably didn't live the type of life that most of your classmates, for example, lived throughout the high school to get to this point over the last 1.5 years, right? You probably didn't party as much, you didn't hang out as much, you were probably just like locked in your freaking room and going hard on business. And I definitely sacrificed a lot in terms of social life and partying, that sort of stuff. Um, but just like be aware of what sort of sacrifices you want to make for this certain outcome that you want. Now, I'm personally fine with sacrificing like partying, because I don't really enjoy it, but I'm not fine with sacrificing time with my family, and I'm not fine with sacrificing some time with my friends, and like some adventures and trips like that every other week or so, because I those things are important to me, right?
yes, exactly. Good point. I also try to, like, because like we're still young, I'm also still at school, you're finishing as well. And, we both have like 90, 20 years. So I'm really trying to make sure that I'm not like sacrificing, too much basically. And, I'm pretty much living, like hanging out, all the different stuff. I'm not really sacrificing on that, or at least I'm trying not to. But also on the other side, like I'm a bit of introvert, so I'm
Yeah,
not
me
the kind
too.
of, yeah, I'm not the kind of guy that, goes to parties every week. But
Yeah.
if there's like a good party and someone invites me, it's not like, oh, I need to work. I would still go. So yeah, definitely. I think, especially in the young age, there's too much. People are looking up to guys that are like working 16 hours a day and not doing anything else, and that's not really good best option. Because I also heard like Alex Hormozy, I think, talking about this, because someone asked him if, because he was working so much, and he said actually that if he wouldn't work that much, he probably would make more money faster, just because he would think about systems,
Mhm.
hiring team, all that stuff, and he would probably make more money faster. And I kind of agree with that. So yeah, right now I'm also focusing on building systems, teams, and enjoying some time off as well.
Yeah.
uh, Definitely.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also, one thing I guess I would say to all the listeners, especially the young ones, is that, like, don't sacrifice. And I think this is like the biggest thing you shouldn't sacrifice: your morals. And kind of like your character for the sake of making quick money. Because I see a lot of people online nowadays doing things that are like highly unethical and immoral, just because they want to get quote unquote ahead faster, and buy the Lambo faster, and buy the watches faster and all that material shit.
Yeah.
And they, a lot of them don't care how they do it. Like I met a person, I'm not gonna name, who made most of his money through like a rug pull crypto. I don't want to say it's a scam, but like, yeah, I mean, it's a scam. Like if people lose money with it, then I think it's a scam a lot most of the time. So like I would say, yeah, it's super easy probably to get lured into the world of crypto now, and like NFTs, and like doing a pump and dump scheme and stuff like that, because like so many people make just like stupid money with it. But I think, first of all, you probably cannot appreciate that as much if you haven't worked super hard for it, or like haven't put in those hours to actually get there. But that's not even the main thing. Like if I had the chance to get somewhere faster rather than later, obviously I would take the faster way. It's just more so that, like, first of all, how do you sleep at night? Like I personally, maybe if you're a sociopath you don't care, I guess that's then probably you're not even listening to this at this point. But like, I personally really care about how I sleep at night, and I know that throughout my journey, yes, I might not have made the most money that I could have. I might be progressing a lot slower than I could, but I haven't done anything that I consider immoral. I haven't screwed over anyone, haven't like scammed anyone out of their money, and I know that you haven't either. And I think that's insanely important because, yeah, just like it might be something that is inviting, I guess, to do business the immoral way, but in the long term, and I think that's what really matters, and that's the point of what I'm trying to say, is like, in the long term, people will know who are really being their honest self, and who are saying the truth, and who are putting like their actual self out there, and who are just those clowns who get on the internet and make a couple million online and then disappear after a couple years because they are busted for being a scam, and they can pretty
Yeah.
much never return online. Because I talking about Alex Hormozy, like he talked about this once, that someone told him that you only get one name, so use it accordingly. And that is, I think, so true, especially nowadays with online business. Like, you only get one name. If you screw a bunch of people over, you will never wash that away. Not even from the internet, but also from your own like conscience. So I think that's an important thing as well. It doesn't really relate, but I just thought that would be a good point to share as well.
Yeah, I think it's good because there's a ton of people going into online business and like the whole making money online just to make some money. And it's not really about that. It's about, like, for me at least, it's about like building a real business, sustainable business, and like developing my character during the process. And like you said, enjoying the process, because also that what you mentioned before is like, now I really find a joy in like coming here to my office, putting on my headphones, playing some classical music, and just working, and I'm fucking happy doing that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very funny how things are changing, because everybody gets into pretty much everyone gets into the business for the sake of making money. But as you develop, as you grow, I think also your focus is kind of transitioning, and you start to think more like long term about like building business, enjoying the process, and a lot of those different lessons that you learn throughout it.
Yeah, definitely. Like the way I look at business and also kind of life in as a whole right now is like, it's kind of like a video game for me. Like I'm just the goal is just to level up my character and become better at all these different things. And business is also the same way. Like the fun part about it is that there are always new missions and side quests that you can take on and finish and become better at, right? Like all these different bars that you can kind of max out. And the fun part about it is not really even being at the top. It's just about making progress. Like if you ever played, I don't know, League of Legends or Counter-Strike or whatever, Minecraft, any video game, basically, you'll know that it gets boring once you have got to the top. Like if you play a Minecraft world, for example, like it gets boring once you have got all the cool like armor and you got all the materials and everything. Like that's when
Yeah.
you get bored of it and you want to create a new world. The fun part is just like starting out, playing with your friends, like collecting all the materials, building out stuff. Even in like the other video games, the fun stuff is progressing in the rank system. And I look at it the same way in real life. The fun part is upgrading your character traits. It's upgrading your body. It's upgrading your different skill sets, and upgrading your social circle, upgrading, you know, even your finances and the things around you. It's fun, but it's important not to get too caught up in all that, you know.
Yeah, I think also that's very important to not be like truly satisfied with yourself, because don't get me wrong here as well, but once you, for example, get to a certain level, like your goal, whatever, it's very easy to like, become complacent at this point. And like, because it's the same as games basically. So once you get to this, max level, once you get to this max
Yeah.
level, basically you don't want to play this game anymore. So, just keep yourself hungry, and, you'll have way more chances of succeeding.
Yeah, and people might be asking like, okay, but how do I keep myself hungry after I got some of the stuff I wanted? And that's a good question, and I've asked that question many times, and I've been there. Like I told you guys, before last year, so 20, yeah, last year was 20. So in 2020, I got super complacent for over 6 months, if not that whole year, to be honest, because I got most of the stuff I wanted. I was able to buy the stuff I wanted, buy the stuff I wanted to buy, right? And I felt super complacent. I was like, okay, how do I get uncomplacent? How do I get my hunger back? And to me, I think it probably is different for everybody. But for me, what helped was simply the pain of staying the same and staying complacent. Like basically after like after 6 months of not progressing and being quote unquote complacent, I felt so anxious. I felt so depressed in where I was that I just simply like automatically got unstuck and uncomplacent because I just couldn't stand that position anymore. And I couldn't stand looking at in the mirror and seeing this person who was complacent, right? I've used the word complacent probably a lot of times, but yeah. So for me, like the way I got uncomplacent, if that's even a word, was just simply staying with the pain for long enough where it hurt more to stay that way than to start taking action. Now, is there a better way to get uncomplacent? I don't know. I would love to hear that because it would be really useful for me as well. But that was my case. Anyways, I just wanted to share that because like somebody might be in that position right now, and I don't know. Even though it's not really a solution, what I just said, I wanted to share kind of what's been my, I guess, solution to that.
Yeah, I think also for me, it's something like, when I was starting, I wanted to get to like $5,000 per month, for example. But once I got there, I wanted like 10K. And once I got to 10K, I wanted like 20K. And like, I'm not really like struggling with complacency right now because I'm like very curious if I want to test myself kind of
Yeah.
in a way. So, for example, I made like $20,000 last month, and now I'm curious, oh, can I actually get to like 30, 40, 50K, maybe like 100K in the long run? And I'm like, it's not like I need to get there or like, because I'm very like feeling very comfortable here where I am. but I'm just like, is that possible? Can I
Yeah.
actually achieve that? And like, and if so, how? And okay, let's try test it out. And yeah, that's what's keeping me hungry. But
I feel
yeah,
the same way right now, by the way, as you just described. I would be completely fine with what I have right now. Like, I don't really need anything more than that, but I'm insanely excited to see how far I can push it this year and next year, and how far I can, go basically, and test out my limits as well, and just keep improving. So yeah.
yeah,
um,
exactly.
Anyways, before we finish off, let's give a little bit of practical advice to someone who might be listening to this. Maybe someone who's, you know, just maybe someone. Let's do two scenarios. So let's do someone who's just trying to get their first client, step by step, what they should do to achieve that. And also, let's do someone who's stuck under 5K. What are the steps they should take? So, um, I will let you start off with this.
Yeah. So uh, it's kind of hard to answer because right
Okay.
now I'm thinking
If you
about
want,
different.
I can start with the first
Yeah, you can start, and
scenario,
I can.
and then you can do the someone who's
Yeah,
stuck
sure.
under 5K and wants to get over 10K, for example. Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
perfect.
So if I were just starting out right now, and I didn't have a single client yet, and I just wanted to get my first couple clients and get up to that point where I can do this thing full time, here are kind of the steps I would take. So step number one would be to get real clear with the goal and also the how. So get a clear goal of how much you want to make. So let's just say you want to make 3 grand a month, so you can live off of that and survive off of that, and you can do this thing full time, right? So okay, now we have a clear goal of 3K a month. Now, figure out what you actually want to sell. So since both of us have made our money kind of selling services, I'm going to give a service-based example. So again, let's just say you already have some creative skills. Let's say videography, filmmaking, editing, that sort of stuff, maybe even some social media stuff. Um, Figure out who you want to help. Okay. Figure out a niche that you want to help, a niche of people. Okay. And I recommend that niche to be something that you are personally excited about and interested in. So whether that be car dealerships or car meetups, or whether that be watch dealers, or whether that be YouTubers, or whether that be real estate agents, or whether that be personal trainers, whatever your personal interests and hobbies are, find out what businesses evolve around that, and also find out how much money they are making, because you want to ideally be serving a market that has enough money to pay for a high ticket service, right? And then once you have figured that out, let's say you want to help um, car detailers. Okay, let's just take that as an example. Then you want to create an offer from your service. So that is something, a quick plug here. So that is something we can help you with, Greg and I, in the Clients for Creatives coaching program or consulting program. So if you are looking for personal help from us, then you can apply in the description below. Shameless plug. But jokes aside, figure out an offer that you can sell for at least $1,000 a month. And I recommend at least 1.5K, even if you are just starting out. So that way you need to get 2 clients to make that initial 3K a month. Okay. And, in this example of car detailers, you'll probably want to help them with getting more clients through their social media. And you can help them with creating content for their socials every single month and managing their social media, and also maybe even setting up their profile in a way where they can get more leads and get more people calling in to get like a car detail, right? and set up kind of their social media marketing as well. Maybe if you don't know how to do that yet, that's something you should probably learn, like how to sell things online with funnels and how to stuff like that. But anyway, so now we have a niche, car detailers. Now we have an offer that you are going to sell for 1.5K a month. And then after this, obviously you will want to start reaching out to car detailers. Okay. And they don't necessarily even have to be, I mean, in this case, if you are personally going to be shooting the content, they do need to be in a distance where you can travel there, but also you can hire out the actual shooting of the content to someone who lives in that certain area. So if you want to reach out to detailers in London, for example, then you can hire a London-based videographer, right? So anyways, you want to start reaching out to them on Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever platform is the best way to reach them. You can do some market research and find out what's the best way to do that. And start sending out messages, track your numbers, track how many people you're reaching out to every single day, have a CRM or like have a pipeline of all the different leads, all the different businesses that you have reached out to. Keep following up with them and set up meetings with them, right? Where you can actually sell them the service, and then get on as many meetings as possible, learn as much about sales as possible. And I guarantee you, if you do 100 calls, now that's a lot, you will definitely close 2 of them. And that's a horrible close rate. I mean, that's 2% out of okay, no, sorry. That if you do 100, yeah, so that's like that's a 2% close rate. So if I'm correct, no, that's a 4% close rate. Anyways, I'm shit at math, but yeah, so take as many sales calls as possible. It's probably not going to take you 100 sales calls to get 2 clients. Probably going to take you like 15 to 20 if you're just starting out. But yeah, that would be kind of my like beginner roadmap to get from 0 to 3K a month. Like, figure out a market you want to help, create an offer that solves a pain and the real problem for that market, and create that offer around your skill sets, and also learn new skill sets to be able to really help those group of people. Reach out to as many of them as possible on social media, take as many sales calls as possible, and learn as much about sales as you humanly can. And then get the clients, get the bag. So that's kind of my A to Z roadmap for just starting out. What do you think about it, Greg? Do you have anything else to add on to that?
Yeah, I think that's amazing what you just said. One thing maybe that like this is how I actually started, and I remember like learning that from you as well. Is, for example, when I started out, I also started with like Instagram content, YouTube content, and I was basically taking other people YouTube videos, creating like 2 pieces of content for them for social media, and I was sending that to them, and basically as a free value, like giving free value. And this is the tip that I would add, like give free value to people.
Yeah,
Maybe I was
definitely.
just lucky, but I remember like second day of doing this, I actually got with my first client. So it's kind of crazy, because you when you give free value, those people may be actually looking for someone, and because you gave them free value, they sometimes even want to like hire you, or like give you like a paid project, just because you showed you cared and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not scalable as well. So yeah,
Yeah, but in the
it's
beginning, that's a totally valid point of or piece of advice. And also another thing I want to add on to it is, you want to position yourself as an expert at helping that specific group of people. So in this case of car detailers, I think you should set up like an Instagram account. I don't know, that can be whatever you want it to be. It can even be your personal Instagram account, and make the or a Facebook page as well, or even a website. And you want to put in your bio like um, a Calendly link where people can book in a one-on-one meeting with you. And you want to make your bio say something like, I help car detailers get more high ticket clients with video or whatever your actual service is, right? And you want to maybe go out to a couple car detailers, shoot some amazing content for them, and put that out as reference videos on your page, and maybe even take on a person for free, help them for a month, and get them some results, get them some more customers through social media and through the content you create for them. And that way, when you go to the next guy, you can say like, I actually helped this car detailer to get more clients through this service. And then it's going to be a lot easier to close that second person for actual money, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Now, let's do a little quick advice, I guess, then for people who are stuck under 5K a month. They have been stuck there for a little while and they want to get to, over 10K a month. What would be your best pieces of advice for them in a nutshell?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things that we can go into here, but I want to point the like most valuable ones.
Yeah, this
So I
is
think
going to
them,
be just like snippets of advice. Obviously, don't take this as like
yes,
our whole system, and that's not what this podcast is for. It's just to give you some value that you can get started with. If you're looking for more one-on-one hands-on help, then book a call with us and we can help you there more in detail, right? But anyways.
exactly. So I think the main problems that people have that are holding them back from growing to like $10,000 per month mark uh, is mainly, charging too low and basically having, not many appointments, not many sales in a month. So what I would do first is increase the price you have. So, you probably can double it right away without changing anything. But what you can do also that can help you increase your prices, for example, try to pitch your potential clients on like, let's say 3 months minimum. So you're doing social media management on a monthly basis. Try to pitch them on doing like 3 months minimum. So instead of paying, $1,000 per month, they can pay, $3,000 per month. And then you give them a discount, for example, so they can choose this option of, let's say 20%, 10%. So they can pay like $2,400 for 3 months. And this way, you can already increase your client's value in that month. And the second one is getting more appointments. And that's basically, finding a good, like dialing in your outreach system. So either you're doing like cold emails or like social media outreach or whatever, creating Looms, YouTube, whatever. Find what works best for you, track your numbers, and basically double down on that. Try to like scale that, automate things in your business so you can spend more time on this as well. So, for example, sometimes what's holding people back is actually like delivering the service. So maybe you just need to, find a team member that can free you up 5 hours a day that you can then focus on outreach and sales. And, just this one simple hire can, even though in the short term it may cost you more, you now can scale to like 10K per month plus. So what I would say is mainly, you know, basically increasing the price, increasing the amount of appointments, you have the amount of sales calls you have, and then of course like streamlining the business, hiring, building systems, all that stuff that can help you get there faster. And if you want any of that more in depth, then definitely check out Clients for Creatives.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I totally agree with you. Like most people who are doing under, 5K a month, like they don't even really do consistent outreach most of the time. They are not taking appointments consistently. They don't really have a team yet. So these are the main things I agree as well that you should be focusing on at that stage. Awesome. So today I think we have covered quite a lot of ground. Do you have anything else you wanted to go over in this podcast today?
Oh, I think we need to leave something for the next ones.
Yeah, definitely. So hope you guys enjoy this. Let us know, I guess, let me know on Instagram or let Greg know on Instagram where you listen to this. I would love to hear whether you're listening to this on YouTube, um, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And yeah, I guess what people are usually saying in this podcast is like, leave us a 5-star review. Yeah, check me out on YouTube at Vince Opra. check Greg out on Instagram and me as well. I will leave the Instagram handles in the description. And also, if you're looking for more one-on-one help with growing or building your creative agency, then book a call with us at ClientsForCreatives.com. So hope you guys enjoyed and have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.